Hello, this is Ron Harvey with Echelon Environmental, and I'm here right now to talk about the WGIR and what it means to you and the things you need to know about it. I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible, so I'm going to get right to business. Okay, the agenda, we're talking about covering the 7 new requirements from the WGIR for small quantity generators. We're not going to be talking about any of the current requirements for your hazardous waste management. We're only going to be talking about the new ones, okay? New ones that you're facing. All right, this briefing is about RCRA compliance. That's all. It's for waste managers at the facility level and EHS managers at the corporate level. This briefing does not cover any state or local requirements. And at the end, I have a couple of documents that I want to share with you. I've prepared them specifically for small quantity generators. So we're going to talk very briefly about the history of the WGIR. Okay. The WGIR, as I call it, okay, is EPA's Hazardous Waste Generator Improvement Rule. Okay, that's the name that they've put on this little beast of theirs. Okay, its purpose was to clarify and reorganize the regs, and they actually did a pretty good job. They really reorganized them, and they clarified some things too. So I gotta give EPA credit. They did a pretty good job with this. It needed to be done. In 2004, there was an internal EPA review that found some problems. Okay, in 2013, studies showed the hazardous waste determinations were lacking. 2015, the EPA put the proposal into the Federal Register. 2016, the final rule published, and the WGIR was born. In the federal states and territories, it became effective immediately. The program states, which are all the other states, had 2 years to adopt the WGIR. This is a pretty current map. There's only a couple of additions since this was put out, but you can see the states that are in yellow have not yet adopted the WGIR. All of the other states have adopted it in one form or another, depending upon their regulatory status. So we're going to get right down to it now. We talked about 7 big changes. Here's the first one. There are 2 new terms you're going to have to get used to. The first section of the new rule, very first section, very clearly spelled out 2 new categories of regulatory requirements. Independent requirements is the first one, and conditions for exemption is the second. Independent requirements relate to every event or action not involved in obtaining conditional exemption from regulations. That's what they say. I explain it as those are the baseline requirements that you need to know before you can do anything else as far as being a hazardous waste manager. Conditions for exemption are all the other requirements a generator must meet to be exempted from full regulation, and I put that full regulation part in there for a reason, okay? But the conditions for exemption are all the routine things that you've been doing pretty much all along. This is something I want to make clear quickly as I can. In the mind of EPA, you are a TSDF. You are a hazardous waste storage facility. Okay? Now, if you comply with the rules, and then you are granted exemption from all of the requirements of a fully permitted TSDF. Isn't that nice? Okay? If you do not comply, your status as a mere generator can be stripped away, and you become fined, and you can be fined as if you are a TSDF operating without a permit. That's exactly what they say. And I'm going to try to put it quickly here. And this is a direct quote from the Code of Federal Regulations. Noncompliance by any generator with an applicable condition for exemption from storage permit and operating requirements means that the facility is a storage facility operating without an exemption from permit. Wow. So if you don't obey your conditions for exemption, you are a storage facility, a fully regulated hazardous waste storage facility. I just want to put that out there for you guys to chew on, because they've never really stated it like this. It's a brand new thing. Big change number 2, the hazardous waste determination. You've been doing them all along. We've been doing them, okay? Now the EPA has laid out a specific process for making a hazardous waste determination, all 5 steps of it. Is it a waste? Is it a solid waste? Is it exempt from being called a solid waste? Is it a listed waste? Is it a characteristic waste? Those are the 5 steps that you have to go through for every one of your wastes now in order to do what they call a hazardous waste determination. And for each hazardous waste determination, you need to keep documents to back up your determination. That's the new thing. You have to have a documented hazardous waste determination for all your waste. Okay, safety data sheets, process knowledge, analytical testing, whatever you got. Okay, that's a brand new thing, and those are going to be big points next time you get it inspected. Okay, that's what it's going to be all about. The result of the hazardous waste determination is identification of all the EPA waste codes for the waste. Pretty simple. Big change number 3, generator category determination. Now that you've identified all your hazardous waste, you can accurately determine what your generator category is. Again, EPA is given detailed instructions on how to count your waste amounts, okay? From there, you determine if you're large quantity, small quantity, or very small quantity. By the way, very small quantity generators didn't exist before the WGIR. They were conditionally exempt generators, okay? Now, you must have records of your monthly waste generation to prove that you are what you say you are. You got to have the records, the actual numbers to show them. Big change number 4, conditions for exemption. All of the things that you have done are the same all these years, okay? What has changed here is the penalty structure. Non-compliance by any generator with an applicable condition for exemption from storage permit and operation requirements means that the facility is a storage facility operating without an exemption. That is what they're saying. I mean, this is important. Big change number 5, satellite accumulation areas. If you have satellite accumulation areas, there are new requirements. All of the old requirements still apply, the 55-gallon rule, keeping the drums closed, the 3-day rule, etc. Okay, but the EPA has added 2 significant new requirements. All satellite accumulation areas operated by a small quantity generator must meet the preparedness and prevention regulations of 262.16b8. Okay, that is exactly the same as you do for your central accumulation area, including weekly inspections. Satellite accumulation areas now have to have weekly inspections. That's a huge change. And all satellite accumulation areas operated by a small quantity generator must meet emergency procedures at 262.16b9. Essentially the same as for your central accumulation area, including posting of contact information and ability to respond to emergencies. All of that now is part of every satellite accumulation area that you have. Okay, big change number 6, episodic events. I love this one, okay? It's the best thing the EPA has done in years for hazardous waste generators. An episodic event allows you to keep your generator category if you go over your limits, but you have to do it just right. Limitations. An episodic event only applies to non-routine waste generating activities. Routine wastes, okay, aren't covered by episodic events. And you're only allowed 1 episodic event per year. There are 2 types of episodic events. One is the unplanned episodic event, which generally means spills, okay? And number 2 is the planned episodic event. There's several of those, but tank cleanouts, process cleanouts, something like that would be the next type of episodic event. Episodic event notification. Yes, you have to tell the state before you do an episodic event, okay? Please don't forget to tell them. Planned events, you got to give them 30 days notice before you do any work. And then for an unplanned event, I think you have 72 hours, if I remember correctly, to notify the state that you had an unplanned event and now you're going to manage the waste accordingly. You have to notify the state in either case, okay? Then you have to follow the separate rules for episodic waste, including 60-day storage times. Okay, 60 days is the longest period you can store episodic waste. So you really got to plan well for these. Big change number 7, re-notifications for small quantity generators. Beginning on September 1st, 2021, small quantity generators are required to re-notify the state and every 4 years thereafter. Oh, dang. All right, so depending upon the state, you can send in a new 8712 form, or you can use the electronic form, which the system that I actually like. It's called MyRECRA ID. And now, if you missed your initial notification, okay, don't re-notify tomorrow. Now, please realize that if your state hadn't adopted the WGIR before September of 2021, I'm sure the state rule gives you a different date to start, so keep an eye on that. So if you missed your notification date, don't re-notify tomorrow. you need to get all your WGIR ducks in a row first, just in case. All right, so we're talking about making the big changes, the WGIR toolbox. I've been in thousands of businesses just like yours. I know that you want to do the right thing, and you know you have to get it done soon. And that's why I've developed the WGIR toolbox for hazardous waste managers. There's only one objective here, okay? And that's compliance. That's all we need to do, is to comply with the regulations, the new ones, that is. And there are many paths that you can take to get there. So I've hacked my way through the forest of regulations, and I've made 4 different paths that you can potentially follow to get everything in compliance with the WGIR. Okay, the first, my laser coaching for hazardous waste managers. Okay, this path is for more advanced hazardous waste managers. It gives you 1 year of direct, unlimited, one-on-one access to me. All right. My second path is the WGIR Compliance Workshop. This is the best path if you need to get into compliance quickly so that you can get back on with other things that you've got to do at work, okay? It's a live one-on-one done-for-you coaching. The third path is the WGIR Compliance Course. If you're the studious type, this is a great path for you. Online, self-paced courses that cover every aspect of compliance with the WGIR. The fourth path, okay, is the deep support path. If you have no one at your company to turn to for help, then this path will add to your workshop or course 1 year of access to my group support platform. And to find out more and to obtain the help you need with waste management at your facility, here's an address to go to. I'm going to give that to you at the bottom here as well. Okay, your bonuses. I'm going to give you several things to kind of take a look at, help you get started. You're going to get a PDF of this presentation. You're going to get my WGIR fact sheet. You're going to get the Code of Federal Regulations trimmed down to just what small quantity generators need to do. And you'll see that underneath this video, under the Show More section, okay, underneath. You'll find it, okay? Just look around if you can't see it right away. Okay, thank you very much for attending. I hope this was instructive. Leave a comment below if you wish. And I'd like to just tell you that there is hope for the hyper-regulated. Here's my contact information. Thank you very much for attending. I'm very glad you made it here. And I actually kept it almost to under 15 minutes. Proud of myself, period. Thanks. Take care.